Hello, this is Sam Simon, also known as Dementia Man, for our weekly blog for the week of November 4th, which is the first Monday of National Family Caregiver Month and Alzheimer's Awareness Month. So I have a special guest. I think you've met her before. Susan, my wife now of 58 years, 2 months and 10 days, 12 days, something like that. And also now in the role of not just caregiver, I call her, we've come to use to the term love partner. And of course, I'm the man with Alzheimer's disease. So it's perfect for this month, National Family Caregiver Month and Alzheimer's Awareness Month. So we're going to spend a little time giving you a background and a little bit about our circumstances, and we want to do a couple of thank yous and gives you guys some to-dos for this month. So to begin with, I want to make sure that everybody's aware that we each have been a patient of a diagnosis that had a terminal thought to it, if you will. Susan in 2000 was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer. And during that time, her doctors approached me and told me to get ready that because of her condition, they thought she was not going to live through it. She is an unlikely survivor. I was diagnosed in 2022 with early stage Alzheimer's. And I have some thoughts about awareness, getting early diagnoses, but I also have a thought about being the patient side and the recipient of the love and the importance of having a care partner. I got a new name for it. I call it it's a little bit different because of my disease. I call her my cognitive navigator. So, hello, honey.
Hello, Sam.
Um, you know, um, let's talk about each of these journeys a little bit separately. I'm going to get to the Alzheimer's side, but let's talk about Family Caregiver Month. And that was my role back then. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Susan. And this is also a lesson for the care partner. Um, she was aware of how what the doctors thought. She was aware that he was not expected to survive. And just as an FYI, Susan was 54. Her mother had died at 56 from advanced breast cancer, and my mother had died from breast cancer. So we had no experience of a successful recovery. And as dramatic as that was for me and our kids who were in their early 20s, I think, or mid 20s, Susan was determined, and Susan was determined to survive. So we had to be careful. We were we were not allowed, right, Susan?
Correct.
To show any fear or any sadness in her presence. She was determined, and if we needed to cry, these are some brilliant memories. We had to go downstairs in our house, and outside, our daughter would talk about when she drove over. She lived in Maryland, drove over to our home in Virginia to see her mom. She had to wait till she was in her car, she said, till she could cry. So the family caregiver journey is complicated, it's challenging, and it is essential. And there are a lot going on this month to be aware of in that as well. And And I want to give a shout out, and I'm going to let my wife talk here, to the Reverend Greg
Johnson.
Johnson. And you can just come onto our website and see things. And by the way, there are two websites. We're on DementiaMan.com. We're on YouTube. But there's also theactualdance.com that is a play about, and my book is available about that journey and about how challenging the care partner role can be and how helpful. And that's why I say Greg Johnson, who lives in New York and is one of the most noted advocates for supporting programs for family caregivers, and did that professionally for many years with a health company in New York, and now does his own consulting and work in that field. And it was very helpful to me. And writing and talking about it took me 9 years to be able to actually talk. I knew that Susan, by 2006, was outside the 5 year mark. We're doing well. I was still struggling with what I had to almost do. And writing about it really helped me. And I called it post-traumatic spiritual disorder. And it can affect us that way for a long time. So this is an important moment to thank not just thank caregivers, but look on ways to support them and the journey and to always be there for them. So now, Alzheimer's disease. That's what I got. Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. But Susan, you're now my cognitive navigator, my care partner. I want to talk a little bit about how you're reacting and responding to being in my shoes in a way from another day and being around me as I go through my challenges.
Okay, you said, and I'm going to talk about it, but it's I. This is the I that's going to talk about it. So you see, we can laugh about it, but there are some very important things that we as caregivers and love partners have to realize and have to work with out there. The first thing that I would like to emphasize is there has to be an acceptance of the fact, and it is that the person that is sitting next to you has that diagnosis. And you're thinking in your head when you have heard that diagnosis said by the doctor to the patient with you present, what am I going to do? How am I going to go through this journey? So the first thing that I say is we need to talk about what does the diagnosis mean? Accepting and learning more about what we have in store for us, but not panic. That doesn't help us. One of the chief things that I have to work on is patience. It requires a lot of patience. And the one thing you want to do is think before you act. That's very important. Times when I forget about waiting, because sometimes if they are having a problem with expressing themselves or trying to think of a word, it is very important that you are there, but you do not interrupt them and have the patience to wait, or maybe give them a clue and let them come up with it. We are dealing with dignity. That is the most important thing. We want to make sure that we are not doing things that they think they don't have the dignity to do anymore. Also, I would say that you need support. Support is very important. And I'd like to thank all the people out there that run support groups and who give us information so that we know and can expect what possibly could happen, or if it does happen, give us some advice on how to do it in a dignified way. Also, it requires a lot of energy from the caregiver or the care partner. The way I get my energy also involves him because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. We go to the gym at our club and he does the ellipse, and sometimes I do the ellipticals. That's right. And I'll do the bike and the ellipticals. But it's very important to do some sort of exercise and to keep a routine in mind so that you know every morning when you get up, you're going to get ready. And then when you come back and you clean up, then it'll be breakfast time. But routines are also very important. The more we can keep a routine, the easier it is going to be for both the person that has the disease and the caregiver. Also, I'm just trying to think about what else. And you have to think about who the person is. It's very important to remember that they are a person. They still are there. They haven't left, even if it's toward the end of a disease. There is a person in that body that deserves your help and your love. And if you are giving them that love, they know that you are giving them the love. And I'm going to turn it back to him because he has very good examples about that love part.
Well, I do, but I want to reemphasize just a little bit. And I also want to say something. Remember, this is Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and you're doing the journey. And something I've learned, I think maybe we both learned. When I was the care partner, Susan was always there. I was told, was dying. She was always Susan. And I have come to understand as we've gone through our journey, and we're still learning, we're still experiencing it, we're in real time, not just 1 month, but every day, forever now. And that as hard as it was to lose Susan, and I thought, and I'll pick up on the last point, love, I thought that, and I do believe that we have become essentially a singularity, having been married this long, been together, raised children together. We've gone through our ups and downs like every other couple, but we feel now that we are literally a spiritual singularity. And I felt that what was happening is literally our souls were being torn apart. And the experience for family caregivers is tough. And you can hire somebody to come in and do physical things. In fact, this is what I'm reminded of. I'm glad we're doing this. That I don't believe that the role here is caregiver. It is the act of love. It is a different act. Of course, we give care, but we're also engaged in a spiritual journey together. I've said, and we've both talked about it a little bit, the most important thing is that the person knows that they are loved, and that the ultimate gift of love, the ultimate act of love, is being with someone. And we both have this experience now, and we're still working on it, that, and Susan suggested that as they may be leaving, they know that they're loved and they're held in the embrace of at least our love. I know there are lots of different religious views about all of this. And I will also note what Susan said about acceptance. We're not being punished by God or anybody else. It is what has happened to us. And it is what it is. My father's mother, the grandmother on my father's side, there's a genetic risk of Alzheimer's. On Susan's side, her mother had breast cancer, and it's in her family. So it's who we were born to. It's what our life is. Um, the love for each other and holding and reminding each other about how loved they are is critical. And it is the role of the care partner being a love partner. That's the love partner role. The care partner is actually, I held out that semicircular metal pan for Susan when she needed it. I gave care. Um, Susan was at the doctor's office with me today. And we talked about icky stuff, and she saw some icky things being done to me to check out something. So that's the care part. The love part, or in Susan's role, she gets an added one, isn't she? Aren't you lucky, Susan? You can be my navigator.
Yes.
And is I can be confused. I know it doesn't sound it right now, maybe, but I can get confused, lost, whether I'm trying to perform this play I've wrote or just at the airports in particular. And the challenge is I can get agitated at her for, I know I'm not, no, let's go the other way or do it carefully. So there's a lot about that. I do want to talk a minute about Alzheimer's awareness too. One of the most important things is, first of all, Alzheimer's is such a dirty word in the sense that we've come to think of the end stages and the person in a memory center in a room by himself just staring at the sky. When we got the diagnosis of my Alzheimer's, doctor said it could be 10 to 15 years before it gets a lot worse. And we've met a lot of people in that way. And as it is getting worse, there are more challenges associated with it. The best thing you can do, though, is if you think you're having a memory problem, particularly if there is a family history, go get it checked out early. There are increasingly things can be done to minimize or extend the life. There's some new drugs out there. There's not a cure. There is not a cure. Anybody who says there is a fraud. Period. End of discussion on that. And I don't care if they have MD after the name. If they say there's an, all right, she said, stop being a troublemaker. Okay. So finding out early and setting up a life plan and getting the best out of the time you have left is, but I hope that being aware of it, getting checked, finding out early, and of course, be helpful, help donate to whatever cause you think might help find a cure. But find cohorts, find groups, there is tremendous number. I do want to give a shout out. There's something called the Joy of Dementia, and my friend Mary Fridley and the folks at the East End Institute in Brooklyn do great things. They have Zoom programs, they have in-person programs, they have a Take It to the Streets week where during November, where they want people to go out and say, hey, I've got it, or here's some more information about us, and encourage acceptance and programming, and find somebody who's Alzheimer's or a cognitive disorder and see if you can be of help or be part of their lives. And be part of the cure, not the cure, but the search for the cure, the search to make their lives as meaningful as possible. In fact, play Dementia Man, go to dementiaman.com, bring it to your community. It is a story of awareness, and you can and a vision of living a meaningful life with the disease. And so those are caregiver journeys. Oh, I wanted to mention that what we did is found a caregiver group in Vegas, Nevada. We live in Northern Virginia. And finding good supportive care group, we get on a Zoom every week with them. It's so comforting to be, not only comforting, but educational to be in conversation with those who are going the same thing. Susan mentioned the cohort or a support group for her among other families going and caregivers for people with cognitive disorders. Those are, for us, I think, the most helpful kinds of things. I also want to mention that there are resources out there. I think in the Alzheimer's side of things, and this is so with the idea of a navigator. Why did I come up with the idea of cognitive navigator? Everybody who sees the plays and hears the word, oh, that's a great idea. When Susan had breast cancer, there were already breast navigators in most medical offices or hospitals to help people navigate the journey with this disease for the whole family and for the family. Why there isn't that for folks with Alzheimer's and other cognitive disorders is a mystery to me. Every doctor's office should have somebody, some family or social support group that when you get the diagnosis, you can go out and say, hey, here's some resources. And here's a resource. I don't know if you can see it.
No, it's blurry.
Here, wait a minute, we're getting it. There we are. Dementia Self-Management Guidebook. I'm one of the 5 advisors to this. You can just Google that word. It's a great resource. It should be in every doctor's office. It is I think the hardest journey is that of the love partner. Now, each of us with a disease, with the need to have the strength, we may need psychological help, not to just disappear into our room and not come out. That has happened. We've heard it from caregivers that, and their husband or care part, the person who got the diagnosis, the phrase was, he went into his room and he didn't come out. It's hard. We know that. There are resources and there's reason to believe that you can have a meaningful life with either disease. Mine is Alzheimer's, yours was?
It was breast cancer, but I no longer have it, even though he doesn't believe that it will never come back. So.
Well, no, the challenge, everybody's life experience is the same. My mother's came back in their 6th or 7th year. And so I, always wonder, but.
Keep on subject.
Well, no, we are. This is care. It is a care partner's challenge, particularly if there is survival. What's next? When's it going to happen? I think that, and the answer to, though, how to do that, have people to talk to. It could be family, it could be trained people. Another thing there, the Alzheimer's Association, breast cancer groups, love to have volunteers. So you can be in groups, you can be around in ways to help give hope and energy for that. So in this month, people watch out on our blogs and on the website because we're going to put up a little bit of information for both sides of that. I'm going to go back to the actual dance website and make sure some things go out to that. Come on to dementiaman.com, sign up to be part of our podcast. There's a new campaign out there about getting rid of the word dementia. I hate it. It lacks dignity. I think I might get some stuff about that this month, but there'll be plenty of opportunities. We want to be a resource as we go through our journey and also share it. And what are your last thoughts, Susan?
My last thoughts are, um, as I said in the beginning, the best thing that you can do is think yourself about patience, energy, and support. Those are the things that I think about each day as I wake up. I've got to have the energy. If I need support, I know I have it from friends and family, and continue on this road. We laugh about a lot of things. Do not, and it's very important to continue to socialize, because that's one of the biggest problems is isolation. And if you feel isolated, please try and find a group, or a group that both of you can be in. There are lots of them where the partners are together, but let's do what we can.
Yes, and thank you. And keep in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts. How to be in touch with Dementia Man is on the website, and we're looking forward to sharing part of this month for you, caregivers and people with Alzheimer's.
Thank you.